Hi, I'm Cameron, and I don't just read comics, I love them. Welcome back to another episode of Cameron Reads Comics. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the comics I think you should read before go seeing Warner Brother, Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves' The Batman. For me, whenever I go see one of these movies, my biggest concern is always like, what's the source material? Like, I always want to know what the actors read before they went headfirst into these portrayals, these iterations. So that being the case is based on what I've seen in the trailers and what I've seen amongst, the marketing, I picked some titles that I think are going to be the most relevant to this franchise. First and foremost, the number one book I think you should read, and it should go without saying, I'm not saving it till the end, I'm saying it now. Obviously, this is going to be a rehash of Batman Year One. And that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. It is, I feel like it's, for this generation, this should go without saying. We've seen it done in Batman Begins. We've seen it done really well. Frank Miller's Batman stuff, no matter what your stance is on Frank Miller, is unparalleled. It is the penultimate Batman origin. It is a necessary comic book reading, not just for Batman, not just for DC, but I'm talking for the sake of the medium. David Mazzucchelli and Frank Miller's Batman Year One is amazing. And I actually don't even have it I have a pile right here. I don't have it in my pile because I've loaned it out because I think my friends loan friends their comics. There we go. Batman Year One is awesome. Okay, now the next one I want to talk about is Batman Rebirth by Tom King. I think that as we see the character campaign go deeper and deeper for this movie, we see the relationship between Batman and Catwoman. And I can't think of any other title besides, a Catwoman solo series that reflects their relationship so much. So I think that this is one of the most important aspects of that. I think this is a perspective of Batman Catwoman relationship that we see really well in the comics, and that I think is the foundation for this movie, or at least their relationship in the movie. It also really deals with who Bruce is as a man, the hurdles that he faces, and a lot of the stuff that's thrust his way in this series in particular, I thought was really interesting. And I see when Robert Pattinson was talking about the modern Batman stuff, I think he was caught off guard, and I think this is what he was talking about. He was caught off guard with the potential that this story had on Batman and the public's perception of him. Okay, next up we have Ego by Darwin Cook. Now, this is a super famous Batman story. It's actually just a single issue. It's a one-shot. This is an introspective look at the psyche of Batman. I wish I could tell you more, but I read this a long time ago, and I don't think it resonated with me very well. But I kept it because this is a collected edition, has a lot of stuff. Darwin Cook is the reason you should be reading this. He is one of my all-time favorites, top 5 artists, hands down, maybe top 2. I love Darwin Cook so freaking much, and so his storytelling capability, what he does with Batman, and the legacy of this book in general, I think is a big one. It's people want to understand what's going on in Batman's head, and I think this is one of the looks about the burden that he has for being Batman. And what's crazy enough is within all the marketing materials I've seen, is this one has been cited a lot, which is funny because there's not, I don't know, from what I remember, there's not like a major Batman villain fight. It's Batman fighting his inner demons, which I guess, you can make character development, whatever it be, but that is what I see in this book. So, interesting. But yeah, I think I'm going to do a reread on this because I want to see how it's influenced what we're going to see. Always read Darwin Cook, seriously. Oh, I love it. Even the cover of this book, amazing. Now, for the last book I want to talk about is one that I think is under the radar. It's a series of books, and I haven't seen them in the marketing materials, but I think that this is the most fundamental influence on the movie that we are going to see, and that is Batman Earth 1, Volumes 1 and 2. And if you're wondering why, because number one, the villain in this volume is Penguin, and the villain in this volume is Two-Face. So I just think that this is Volume 1, this is Volume 2. They definitely need to be read chronologically. For this series in particular, I think that number one, it is kind of like DC's variation on the Ultimates, the Earth One line. So as in Ultimate Marvel is taken as if Marvel started in the year 2001 or 2002, whatever year it came out. This one is what if DC, the universe started in 2010. So this is a Batman story written by Jeff Johns, who's kind of the flagship writer for the DC extended universe. They're pretty much adapting whatever he's written, which is good. I like it. This story in particular is one that I thought flew under the radar in the marketing materials, but I think that's because they're just going to rip a lot of stuff from it. I think that Penguin's relationship to Bruce and the Waynes in general is going to be influenced by this. I think that the history of Martha Wayne that is explored in these books is going to be affected. I think that his relationship with the Riddler is going to be exactly what you think it is. I'm not going to spoil this for you, but there's a scene with the Riddler and a train, and I hands down believe that will be replicated within Matt Reeves' Batman. I also think there's two last things about this series in particular. I think that it is one of the best examples that shows how the outside world views Batman. And the second one is, I think it's the best example of us understanding the mental state of Batman. This book is one of the first ones that makes Bruce I feel like very tangibly unlikable and very unhinged, and also not qualified for like the endeavor that he is taking on, but that makes it so grounded. And so to see this, it's also the art in this book is one of my other top two favorite artists, which is Gary Frank, who is ridiculous, just absolutely unbearably ridiculous. So I think that this book specifically looks at such an interesting window to something. But I think that we're going to find the Penguin in this movie to be Kingpin-esque, which I think the Penguin should be, but I think that it's gonna very much reflect. I think that we're gonna see Penguin's relationship to the Wayne murders, and that is gonna be explored. And that's not even a spoiler because it gets wilder and wilder and wilder. Yeah, I just think we're gonna see so much influence. And then I saw a big campaign. There's like when Bruce falls from the ceiling in one of the trailers. Sorry if it's spoiling you if you didn't watch the trailers. Why are you watching this then? I don't know, but when he comes down, they're like almost at a campaign event. I would not be surprised to learn that it is Harvey Dent's twin sisters event, and they will hopefully do Two-Face in the next movie or whatever they do. But I think that this is actually going to influence a lot, and even what I found, the look of Batman, the emo-ness everyone seems to be talking about, I think that is directly from Batman Earth One, because also Jeff Johns is an executive for DC Entertainment, or at least he was. I don't know where it all stands now. What do you think they're going to base the movies on? Do you think I'm right? Do you have any other titles you want to throw in there that you think is just going to be so informative that I may have missed? Drop a comment. Make sure to clobber those like and subscribe buttons. And my name is Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them. I'll see you guys next time.